Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions. A joy to join with you again this morning, a joy to join with you anytime. The gifts that the brother brings to our feet, the brother's holiness comes to bring us holy. See that we're always holy, whole and complete. The joy of really looking so deeply with Jesus and with our brother to see that all there is infinite light. And the simplicity of starting with light and the vastness of this love that speaks through us to us throughout the day, and the fulfillment of Jesus's promise that this voice speaks to us throughout the day and that we can hear it, and the reflections just keep coming through all the beings that are so devoted, have been devoted to this and coming to the light circles and speaking with the light and able to speak to Jesus. You know, this isn't a pressure thing where, you know, who's going to speak to Jesus first or who's going to be last. The last shall be first. It's just to look with him directly if you feel like you can't hear him or join in one of these joining sessions with one of your brothers, because that's the tuning fork. The little antennas somehow go up much easier when we're joined with a brother, since joining is the means given by him to celebrate all that is. And to hear him so clearly when we tune in, and to let that voice flow through us is the celebration of who we are, of what's here, beyond the idea of a personal identity, beyond who we think we are to what we are. I am not a body, what am I? To transcend body identification. Supreme happiness. Yeah, this is very dear, you know, and we can all have these conversations with Jesus. And so he's just reminding me, I came across, he brought me to the Aramaic Bible. Aramaic is to English Bible that Vic Alexander did. It used to be online and the site's not there anymore. You can order the Bible. It's like huge and heavy, where he took the Aramaic Bible and had studied languages and then translated it. I'm not sure which version he had, and I guess it doesn't really matter. It's the version that Jesus showed to me. And it's where I talk about how he talks about the Son of God created the heavens and the earth. And in it, it says something different about Jesus being at the right hand of the Father. It's very interesting. It says, by the right of the Father, that we stand by the right of the Father, which is pointing to the extension of our identity through the Father. You know, I never could understand, what is this right hand of the Father? And when I saw that, it was like, oh, that makes so much sense to me. It was for me. We stand by the right of the Father, given everything through him. In the light of divine being, we're given everything by the Father when we look as the light, infinite, unchanging light. And their only function is to speak Jesus, he reminds me, as well as Helen, you can ask. In the light of divine being and honesty of God, are we capable of hearing Jesus with the clarity of Helen? Says, you desire this, this will be so, because this is your voice. There's no voice outside you. There's no voices outside of us. In the light of divine being, is there a voice outside of us that can be found? So today's lessons is 283. We'll look with him. My true identity abides in you. In the light of divine being and honesty of God, does our identity abide as the light? Can our identity abide outside the light? Jesus, will you show me any desire for an experience for my identity to abide outside of light? And we can hear what he says so gently and easily, to just place that desire to have an experience outside of light. And take that experience that seems to arise. He's reminding me to see it in infinite light and see if it stands before infinite light of being. And can that experience prove that the light's not here? Can we find a way to prove that the light isn't here, the light of divine being, when we look? That infinite love's not here. That's what the ego would attempt to prove. That's when we pretend we can prove we're outside of the light, yet we see we can't be in it. Outside of it, anything other than it, already tagged by God, you're it. And then running around on the playground, I'm not it yet. I'm not, you didn't get me. That's the play. You haven't got me. I'm not it yet. There's another thing to do to see that I'm it. That play. Jesus, will you show me any idea that there's another thing for me to do or see or look at to see that I'm already it? I'm already infinite, unchanging happiness. Because that's the very idea that denies the light. And they rise up. Yet we know the solution is to ask for a miracle on that thought. And Jesus says, just don't believe them. That's what he said. He just reminds me, you don't have to believe them. Who says we have to believe thought? Let's check with the light. Does the light have a little instruction in there? Go, you have to believe all thought. Do you have to follow thoughts around like little puppies, like we're a puppy? See, we become puppets of thought puppets. Let's ask the light. Have we abdicated divine power to a bunch of pile of thoughts? I remember I was in community, and this seems to be just how consciousness plays. But in that case, and I've said this before, I needed so much convincing from Jesus, like, didn't get it. That's just the play, right? The desire for experience to avoid the lights. I played all the games. And, but in this case, I was in community. It was almost like a little spiritual vision where Jesus came, and this is just how these symbols come in the mind. It comes for each being. And he showed me this big old bag of thoughts. And then he pointed to infinite. Okay. You can have this or this. And it's funny. So I went to share that, and the reflection I got back, almost like, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Then I was mad for like a day and a half. Didn't want to join. And this is such a perfect thing, perfect reflection of how the denial works. We're going to be shown something that's so clear, and then we think something outside of ourselves can take it away because we don't want to see. Jesus goes, yep. So I didn't want to, the play in consciousness to deny divinity. Here's Jesus going, here are all these thoughts, and then just big episode with, playing in thought. So it takes a while for it to start seeing. We need, more and more. I've talked about this. Obviously, I need to hear it because it's coming up again. And that is ask for a miracle with willingness to see. Jesus, is there a desire Not to see my identity abides in you, in the light. Willing to see it, ask for a miracle. Is there a desire not to see how easy it is for me to see I've already been tagged by God? Oh, let that smoke rise up. It's pleasant with the desired experience and ask for a miracle. Okay. Am I playing tag with myself, Jesus? Anyways. And that's why we have that voice to tell us all the place we're playing tag, where we're saying no and running from the light. At least we can laugh about it to see that the light's here everywhere. And that we're no, the no, the big N-O. That was, and then we finally say it's all no. It's either supreme happiness or it's no, like it's 2-year-old. No. I'm not seeing who I am. No way. It's funny though. Sometimes it's not so funny. So it gets funnier though. It gets funnier the more we say to Jesus, you are right. You know, like he says in the chorus, you want to be right than happy. Well, the more that we say, you're right, Jesus, the happier it gets. We can ask the light. That's pretty funny. Jesus, the more that we ask, admit that you're right, the happier we're going to be. Is that true in the light of divine being? We can hear that from the light coming in. Yep. You're going to be a lot happier when you admit and you listen to my voice and just see how gentle. Okay, so he's telling me to do that. Teresa, I love you. So Jesus is saying to put that video out. There's so much love in this. I'm like so touched. We had a little joining session with this beautiful conversation. I mentioned it with Teresa. It serves the whole so beautifully to see and have that demonstration that the beings in the light circles are just having regular hello Jesus. Hello, we want Hello Kitty. What about Hello Jesus? And just having conversations. Now, for some, you might feel a wave of tension over the idea of talking to Jesus. But what's so beautiful about this conversation is she just asks him about being afraid of him. And he talks to her about it. Now everyone can hear him. And so if you have doubts about that, let's join, okay? Or that you want to, or any of that stuff, that's what joining's for. So we can just like move past together that idea, that concept of what Jesus is, and that voice we're talking to, and that, I have to be somebody like Helen to hear him. Not the way he's teaching now. He's teaching them, but we weren't ready to hear it. He knows we need to be convinced. You start seeing all the ways you like run from yourself, because we're not running from Jesus. It's not Jesus we're afraid of talking to. It's our true self. We've made a smoke screen so that we won't talk to the voice that's ours. We won't have a conversation with our true voice by the smoke screen. And he's just cutting through all that and saying, go directly to desire, like we do every day in the course lesson. So we can, and go directly to light. See that you're light first. And then we see the contrast. Light, pretend not light. Light, try to turn out the light. Basically, he's showing us where all those little switches are, little switches and gears in there where we're trying to turn out the light. Even though we see every day, we cannot turn off the light. There's no way. It's impossible. Just have to notice this divine being, something here. Is there something here? Yeah, there's something here that's not limited, not seen with the eyes, not limited. And he's reminding me to again mention Course Lessons 44 and 189 to spend time empty-handed. Empty-handed. So love can so we can have our hands open like this rather than like this. Just going, okay, God knows how to come to me. I don't know how to go to him. He's really reminding me that, hands open, don't know anything, don't know anything. I love that about Muji. Don't know anything, don't want to know anything. People come to him and ask him, what about tomorrow? He said, I don't know anything about tomorrow, and I don't want to know anything about tomorrow. Empty slate. That's how God can speak to us, empty slate. Father, I made an image of myself, and it is this I call the Son of God. Okay, let's ask him. Will he show me how I've made an image of myself? Saying yes. Can I just give that image to you and just place it in infinite light and ask him? Can I put that image in infinite light to have it made to undo that error of construction of an image of myself? Am I willing to see that I made an image of myself that's not of the light? If he says no, okay, well, show me where I'm unwilling. As we laugh, we go, I think I need a miracle to be willing to have a miracle. to actually, I need a miracle to be willing to be miracle, willing to see a miracle. We just ask, Father, I made an image of myself. Okay, show me that. Will you show that to me? That desire for an image of myself? Is there a desire in there to have an image of myself that is not of the Father? He says, yes. Just go, okay, show it to me. Stand in it and see how long, if that image can overtake infinite light. See how long it lasts in there. We just check in. We call it the light handshake. See if that lasts in infinite light. Can any image outlast light? Because an image changes. An image is an idea, a little collection. It's a little storehouse of ideas. Let's see if any storehouse of ideas about who we think we are can make it through the light test. The light test. Yet is creation as it always was, for your creation is unchangeable. With a capital U. I'm having a capital Y. Wrong letter. Capital Y. Your creation is unchangeable. Let's ask the light. In the light of divine being and honesty of God, is creation as it always was? Is the light as it always was? When we look at the light of divine being, infinite light, is it always the same in our direct experience? True happiness is the unchanging. To love, yeah, that's what Muji says beautifully. Fall in love with yourself, the light. It's the greatest love affair of all. We want love affairs horizontally. See that the light, ask the light, is the light the love I've looked for always? Yet it's always been here. The source of all that is. You are that. The source of all that is. Infinity. Your creation is unchangeable. Jesus, can you show me where I desire the experience of change? Can you show me the desire, if there's a desire below my level of awareness for an experience of change, to try to change the unchangeable? Is there a desire for this? Boy, he does know all the nooks and crannies are of hiding. Okay. Just admit it and just admit it. Okay. I want to change the unchanging. I want an experience of changing the unchanging. All pain and suffering is an attempt to change what can't be changed. It's dreaming of trying to change the unchanging. So then we just ask them, okay, obviously you're showing me a good place for a miracle. Is this a good place for a miracle? It's really beautiful to ask him that. Is this a good place for a miracle? And hear him say yes. You know, you just start melting in. It's like it opens up that channel to let him direct the miracles. Because we assume we know where the miracles need to be. We think we know. And it's becoming really clear in these joining sessions how we can, he'll say, there's one more thing to look at. Look at this, because he's going to even show you where you don't want the miracle below the level of awareness. You'll see that in Teresa's video. He shows you where that resistance is to the miracle, except easily and lightly, just by talking to him. Let me not worship idols. So we'll ask him to show us any idols we're hanging on to. Are there any idols below my level of awareness that you can bring in my awareness so I can see through them with you, that they're nothing? Any desire experience for idols? Money? Trying to make a partner? Give my beings out there in the world some meaning, some idol, turn them into idols? The things that I do be the idols to distract me from looking with you? Anything else you can show me? Not following my voice is making idols, he says. Not listening to my voice. I am he my Father loves. My holiness remains, the light of heaven and the love of God. See that the light is the holiness that's already here. The innocence, the purity, infinite light. See that it's pure. See that all is forgiven in infinite, unchanging light. Stay there, he says. Stay as light. Okay. He says, ask me where the habits of identification are. Okay, we'll ask. Jesus, will you show me where the habits below my level of awareness are maintaining identification with the body, with the world? And if he shows you an area, spend time with him on it. Or ask his help. Can you help me see through this illusion? And here he says, of course, like that's accepting his plan for our role in the atonement. Is not what is beloved of you secure? Is not the light of heaven infinite? Is the light of divine being infinite in our direct experience? Can we find a way for the light of divine being not to be infinite? He says, focus on the infinite. He's reminding me of the habit and in consciousness of, well, we talked about the shark, that's looking. It's pretty, it's not, well, he's showing us what's true. We made a world and then pretend like the objects have some reality that have control over us, and then look for ways to find a problem in an object so we can feel like an object. Ask Jesus, is that true? With three-dimensional, how many? Multi-dimensional, doesn't really matter. Hologram. Is it a hologram? He says that's a good word for it. It can be understood within consciousness. Yet in a hologram, you can't divide, you can try to chop a hologram, you can look this up, into tiniest piece contains everything of the whole. That's what he's telling us about fragmentation and consciousness. Every piece, God is in everything I see. It's not really in pieces. That's just a way of speaking about the way consciousness tries to develop things to prove that God's not here. Yet we know from Jesus, God is in everything I see. And if we ask him, he'll show us every place where we're trying to say, we'll ask the light, will you show me every place where I'm trying to say that there are fragments without God? Is that a play of consciousness to try and have an experience of fragments without God in it? And ask the light. Is not your son my true identity when you created everything that is? So we go honesty of God, the light of divine being. Did you, Father, create everything that is? And hear the light. Am I created one with you in the light of divine being? Am I created one with you? Can I be apart from you? To see that it's impossible to be apart from that, from light. Now we are one in shared identity. With God our Father as our only source. Is the light the only source? That's all there is light. Let there be light. Infinite, unchanging. And so we offer blessing to all things, uniting lovingly with all the world, which our forgiveness has made one with us. Forgiveness being the means given to see what's true, that the light is all there is. To admit that the light is all there is. To cease to deny the light is all there is. To see that we're already forgiven in the light of divine being. The light of divine being, honesty of God, is forgiveness necessary? Does the light look for forgiveness? Yet in the play of consciousness, where there's a desire, where we're not at peace, because the light's peace. Is the light peace? You can just notice that as resting as the light. No work, no effort, because effort is the play. So he just rests as light. Where no effort is. Where no effort's known, actually. Is effort known in the light? We find that, look for effort, hunt around in there. Is there like a little effort machine in light? That's what ego is, effort machine. Effort experience. Let's ask. Jesus, in the light of divine being and honesty of God, is consciousness, is the ego the desire to experience effort, to void be effortless? That one says, yeah. As long as we play an effort, this is for me, reminding me, all it's for me to remind me, is that as long as we play the effort game, we can't see that we're effortless. Effort is an attempt to sin. It's an error of thought. Ask the light. Let's ask the light. Is effort an error of thought? And he says no errors of thought are true. In the light of divine being, is any error of thought true? Error of thought is merely believing a thought is true. Yet the light doesn't believe any thoughts. Does the light have a little belief machine in there going, I believe? It doesn't know the thought is real. Are desires generating all experience? Everything we experience is being generated out of our desire for it. Let's ask the light. Is that true? Thus, this powerful look every day at ask the light, the one who knows, to show us desires below our level of awareness to deny light. And this is the simple means given by Jesus to spend time with him gently below experience. So once we're wrapped up in emotions, okay, emotions are not the release. Ask Jesus. Are emotions the release? They may arise. The release is willingness to see and release the desire to deny divinity. The admission. Oh yeah, Jesus, you are so right. I'm denying that. Yep. That admission. Because consciousness is the desire for an experience. To deny, we're denying divinity. To deny that we're denying the light. The two denials, we know it, two negatives. All that's left is light. So we cease the denials, admit the denials, and ask for a miracle. Divine simplicity. Jesus is making it so simple for us. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, brother. Simplicity. Be light. Let your heart be light. Boy, those songs take on a whole new meaning. Let your heart be light. Amen. Sending love. Big hug, San Juan Coastal. I hear your sister's here in San Juan, sending love to you. Join. He's reminding me, join. It's for me.